Welcome to the King's Capital. Happy Saturday. Hope y'all had a great trading week. It is Saturday, September 23rd. We're going to break down a few charts. As always, we're going to look at some trade reviews. And then I'm going to look at what I would like to trade this week, right? I've been watching a few charts, specifically one chart over this last week without trading it, just seeing if a particular model of trading that I like, a particular setup in my playbook, applies to something else, and it's proven to be pretty strong. So let's just dig right in. Right now we've got US dollar index on the weekly chart, and it doesn't really show any signs of, we're coming right up against here, right? This is the liquidity last week I was talking about. This is the liquidity that I was planning on us taking out. I would love to see us just push through that this next week. We could get a little bit of a pullback. As you can see here, right, let's just pull in a little bit. Very strong candle right here. This one, it dipped, pulled back up, dipped, pulled back up. So we are showing a little, I wouldn't say indecision. I would just say it looks like it is slowing down just a little bit. And you'll see that in other places, right? Even on these down candles, right? They start off pretty strong, but then they get a little smaller because they're gonna pull back. They're gonna slow down. Same here. So that could be something we see on the dollar this week, which would be an argument for EURUSD kind of pulling back and getting some relief. I'm not certain of that. We're just gonna have to see what price does. If that's what it's going to do, we're just going to have to wait and see. I'm not sure what news we have coming up, but again, I'm targeting the liquidity above that. Again, by liquidity, I just mean like orders and money in the market that would be resting above here in the form of buy stops or stop losses, or even breakout traders, right? A breakout trader is going to be like, well, we broke that high. Let's keep going. So definitely looking to take out that, and then our next stop is up in this fair value gap, but again, weekly's bullish on the dollar. There's no reason to think the dollar's gonna be bearish anytime soon. We had the federal interest rate staying the same at 5.5, I think it is, and then there's even talk of potential rate increase. So it was kind of hawkish. All right, let's take a look at EU, guys. So on EU, we are absolutely bearish. Oh my goodness! Again, guys, every week I'm just gonna apologize for my laptop, right? Because I cannot seem to manage on this trackpad. Appreciate y'all sticking with me though. Cool. Right. So we definitely broke this low. We closed below it a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and it does look like prices, swept this liquidity, right? So that in terms of liquidity, it's always good to like, well, where are we at in the market? Where's our old high? Where's the low? What were we targeting? Well, the price was bearish, so we're targeting this low. Now, when we do sweep a low like this, it's not uncommon to then see some kind of retrace before continuing lower. We're still bearish, but we've swept the liquidity of this low. So we've taken out all these orders, right, with this candle, and now it would not be uncommon for us to see a pullback somewhere on this chart. Where I'm not certain yet. There's on the weekly, there really is no gap in the market. This is pretty efficient price action, I guess, on the weekly. We do have this weekly order block right here. That would be a pretty deep retrace. I wouldn't hate to see it. We might find some buys on euro if that was the case. But again, we'll just have to wait and see. What I'm looking at on the daily here is that we failed to close below this, right? Yeah, we swept the liquidity. Now, what I would love to have seen is a solid daily close below that level, and we just didn't get it. Every time we pushed underneath, like on this candle, pushed underneath, grabbed that liquidity, pulled back up. Same thing here. Pushed underneath, grabbed the liquidity, pulled back up. That is a little bit of a clue to me that we could see a larger pullback for the euro and a pullback for the dollar. Now, it could be that the dollar consolidates, right? Let's go back to the dollar real quick. Right under this level that we were looking at on the weekly, it's possible that the dollar just consolidates underneath that, maybe gets a little bit of a pullback, consolidates before it pushes up. But we're just gonna have to wait and see. A lot of the stuff is, we'll predict what we can predict if it's clean, but if it's not, sometimes we just have to wait and see and react to what price is doing. As you can see on that fib, price did. Here, let me undo that real quick. Price did, well, exactly what I thought it would, huh? Yep, pulled right back into this fair value gap in OTE. pushed up to the minus 27 and almost hit the 61.8, which lines up perfectly with the weekly level I'm looking at, 105.883. Cool. Let's go back to euro on the daily. Again, the failure to close, if we can get a daily closure below this low right here, sitting at 1.06427, if we can get a daily close below that, I would expect more downside. If we keep, like, let's say we push down a little bit and then push up and give us a bit of a bullish candle, I would expect that we take out this liquidity and this liquidity right here, and maybe reach up into this area. Exactly where, I don't know yet, but that would be my guess. 4 hour, what, and what kind of trades are we looking at potentially? So we're just consolidating right here. Here's what I was anticipating, and then we'll get into a quick trade review. And then we'll see what we got this week. Sorry guys, one sec. Yeah, this is what I was looking at. Once we broke down here, this is a huge displacement right here, right? This is FOMC, big displacement, pushed down hard, came to the previous low a little bit more, but we never reached our minus 27 on this chart, like this fib right here, the 618 and the 786. We never hit that minus 27. So that's telling me we could pull back a little harder. Like I said, I think there's a little bit of an argument that we might just get a bit of a retrace this coming week. Minimum retrace would be here, right? So because we did close below this, we got this displacement. We're consolidating right here, so I could see us engineering some liquidity above here. And what I mean by that is essentially the market is pushing back, up and down, back and forth, sideways, right? And orders are going to start, pending orders are going to start building up here, whether they're people that are short on the market looking to take it lower, and so they got their stop losses there, or we're looking at breakout traders that are looking for, okay, if we break above this level, I want to go long. Maybe they're trying to catch the reversal or something, right? They want to go long because they're anticipating, like me, there could be actually a little more upside on this. For whatever the reason, I'm not certain, but let's get rid of this fair value gap marker. We all get it, right? Fair value gap in between here. We do have a breaker block right there, and then we have the order block. So there's a lot of confluence in this area. We have a fib level. We've got the 50%, which means we're going to be going into premium. So there is a big argument for a sell on this week, and we're engineering some liquidity right here. So what is very common you'll hear about is that we have accumulation, manipulation, right? So here we are accumulating, going back and forth. Orders are getting accumulated, right? And let's say that the short argument is still valid for this. Let's just say that's what's going to happen, right? So the argument is we had this big displacement. We're going to accumulate. We're going to manipulate, which is take out the liquidity above this, right? The market's going to manipulate up into some level, take out the liquidity, and then drop. That's the idea. I think that's like the ICT power of 3 concept, right? So right now we're just accumulating. I'm going to be watching price action on like the 30-minute up into this area to see, can we reject? If we start rejecting up into this order block or even into this breaker, I'm going to take a short. That is my main plan on euro this week. If we start closing inside of this fair value gap, we start getting closes above and stuff like that, I'll start looking to the upside for a deeper retrace, right? Because we do have these levels up here. I would absolutely love to hit this level. This is a very clean displacement, clean order block. There's the weekly up there, so we actually do have same kind of confluences, fair value gaps, order blocks, the whole thing, right? So these are definitely levels I'm looking at. But again, coming into this week, this is going to be my main setup. And if this fails, then we'll readjust. We'll react to price, whatever it's going to do. Let's talk about, I took 2 trades on euro this week. That's it. One of them I failed at, right? And then one was an absolute home run, which made up for the loss. So my initial thought was coming into this week, and here's our fib, right? We've got our order block right here. Let me mark that out real quick for you guys. Order block right there at the 786. We had the fair value gap right here with the 618 plus this is a breaker block right here. So that was my initial look. So I actually took a sell in this area. Let me get on the 15 and see if there's a cleaner reason why. Oh, I was looking for a push up into this area right? So, oh, I think that's what it is. Okay, sorry. Kind of collecting some of these thoughts as I go. So we had a rejection. We pushed up into the 618, which was in that fair value gap in the breaker block area. There was some what I assume was liquidity being engineered right there. And then we had this order block for value gap. So I actually took a sell. I placed an order. It was one of those ones where I just placed the order. I didn't wait for any kind of confirmation. Although if you did come up into this zone, you could kind of see, okay, we're starting to slow down. I could see us taking a sell there. But price actually just rallied through, took out my stop, and then not much later, it was FOMC, right? So when FOMC, like just before FOMC hit, price came right up here and it was just pausing. Like if you were watching price, which I was watching price during that leading up to FOMC, you're just seeing price pause right into this order block area. You're at the 786. So this is like, honestly, this is a very prime trading level because it allows you to have a very tight stop loss right here, right? If you're up here, that stop loss is super tight. If you're selling here, right, this is going to be a much bigger stop loss. So I looked at this and I saw the way that price was pausing. I assumed we were going to maintain our interest rate level at 5.5. And so with all those confluences, fair value gap, order block, fib level, great stop loss, right? All those pieces of the puzzle added up, including the fundamental, the assumption that, again, the interest rates would stay the same. I just took a market sell and put my stop above here. I put that one on Instagram at the King's Capital, and you could have checked it out there. But this has been a model that's been playing out over and over and over again this week. So I took a sell literally from the top here, posted it on Instagram as proof. It's probably not there anymore, but if you follow me, then you would have seen it. So anyways, one loss. This was a big one for me. Let me see what that kind of was. I don't remember exactly what that was. I think what's the stop loss? This is yeah, I think I actually took like a 30 pip stop, right? And then I sold pretty much at the bottom here at this low right here. So somewhere around a 1 to 3.5. So yeah, it was a -1, but then I ended up getting a 2.5 on that. So great trade. You had to be a little more risky and be willing to trade FOMC, which is why I had usually 30 pips that's a very big stop for me. I like 15 pips, 20 pips. But with FOMC, I was taking a risk and assumed we could get some manipulation, some push to the upside before we head down. The truth is we didn't get that. It literally just came up, the price paused there waiting for the news, and then it just dropped. So anyways, all right, guys, that's enough about Euro. Again, my prime setup coming into this week is just looking for us to liquidate the orders here, push up into this order block, and then further downside. Again, the only thing giving me pause is that the daily is not closing below. The fact that every time we've dipped below this weekly level right here, it's getting bought up. So again, just be on guard, right? Don't just set an order and forget it. I would really look for some confirmation on a sell on Euro this week. And then, as another confluence, here's something we can also look at that is worth looking at. So USD CHF and Euro USD are often inversely correlated. They do the opposite. The fact that we got such a strong close on USD CHF kind of helps me lean a little further towards the sell, that A+ setup that I'm looking at coming into this week. Because we got such a strong close, I'm not expecting like a big pullback on this right away. So that's something to be mindful of too. Sometimes if you don't know exactly what's going on with Euro USD, you can take a look at USD CHF and get a slightly clearer picture. Cool, guys. Let's look at GBP USD. I really wanted this pullback. Let me go down to the 4-hour chart. I really wanted this pullback, and we just didn't get it. Right? I wanted us to come up here. We really only pulled down to here, and then, oh yeah, and this is where the chart was last week, right? We just didn't get it. We didn't get that. We didn't get this level. I really wanted this level to get tapped. We did tap into this order block on the 4-hour. I think this is a 1-hour order block I was trying to grab, but it did actually tap into this 4-hour order block, and I'll mark it out right here, right? Once, twice, and then drop. So there were definitely chances to sell your GBP USD this week. Let me clear all this off. We don't need it. If it'll let me clear it off. There we go. Delete. Cool. We fulfilled that fib, that extension. Let's look at the weekly real quick. Oh man, see GBP USD. Actually, yeah, this is the thing. I only really trade euro. I'm not messing around with GBP USD. Occasionally, I'll trade USD CAD. Give me 1 second. And sometimes, guys, other charts are just much stronger. GBP USD looking a lot more bearish than euro at the moment. To me, it seems very clear that we are heading towards the liquidity down here. I'll just mark that out real quick. It's this area. This is the area I'm anticipating us hitting. Again, we could get a pullback. There's definitely a gap in the market right here. So coming into the week, could we pull back up to this level at 1.2384? Sure. Yeah, we could do that. But we've already taken out this liquidity. The candle closed strong, so I would be looking for sells on GBP USD. I'm not seeing a clean setup, or I didn't see it on the 4 hour. We'll just have to see what the market gives us. If we can get a pause in the market and a pull up somewhere, that would be ideal. Let me look at the 4 hour and see if there's like a level. Ideal level for me would be, yeah, we kind of already come up. I would love to tap this level, right? We got our fair value gap. We got a strong order block. I would love to get that. That's kind of that one seems a little distant at the moment. But we'll just have to see what price does. This one, as far as immediate setup, is not as clean. Only because I would like to hit this, but the fact that we came down here, we pulled up, and then we started closing below these candles, that tells me, all right, we might not get this actually, but this would be ideal. So if you do get up here, for whatever reason, I would definitely be looking for a sell. And this is just me personally, right? Whatever. It's not financial advice. You need financial advice, go talk to mommy. Go talk to daddy. Cool. Yeah, fair value gap, order block, fib levels. I think if we did make it up here, that would be very strong. I just am unsure if we're actually going to make it up there. I could see an argument for liquidity building up above these highs right here. And there is no clear... I like this level actually a whole lot. Holy smokes, hold on. Yeah, we have that larger order block and we have that displacement. But I like the way this looks here at the 618. Let me look at the 2 hour real quick. Okay. Yeah, okay. So I'm definitely kind of interested in, and again, I don't necessarily trade this one. Super interested in somewhere around this level. Somewhere in this fair value gap, we got the 618. We do have a little bit of a breaker area going on here. So this is a slightly lower target. Sometimes when the order block is just so high up there, it's like, I don't know if we're going to get it. Right? We do see price slowing down though. Obviously, like super impulsive, and then price is just starting to chop around and get, starting to slow down. We are seeing, let me see if I can pull this up for you guys real quick. Right? Look at the bottom of this price is coming down and the bottom of the RSI is pulling up. So we have some divergence forming, so that again can be indicative of a pullback. So again, guys, I'd be looking somewhere up here. If we can take out this liquidity, that would be great. Alternatively, on this 2 hour, I do see a little bit of a gap right here into this order block. So be mindful of that. We could see that too. So let me mark that out real quick and just levels to look at. I'll set alerts and we'll see what we get. But let's get rid of that. That's no longer valid. Yeah, I'd be looking at price going to one of two places. Assuming we pause here, right? We could just keep going. But there. And then our second level is here, somewhere around here, right? Before further downside. So something like that. You just have to be mindful. Again, like with euro, I don't think I'm going to take any pending order sells on that, like no limit orders. I'm really going to want to watch the market in my kill zone, New York kill zone, and then if price does what I need it to do during that, then I'll take a trade. Otherwise, yeah, that's not going to happen. Man. Okay, USD JPY. Y'all, it did exactly what I thought it was going to do. So here's what I had marked out last week. That is what price did. It didn't come down immediately. We did get a push up, pulled right back down, and then looks like we're heading up to fulfill. Let me get rid of all this stuff. We don't need it anymore. Let's start clean. Yes. Cool. USD JPY. All right, here's what I like about this. This is still just long all day long, right? If you can find a buy on this, the fact that we closed above these two candles right here, 1, 2, we got this closure right here on Friday. Coming this week, we could see a little bit of this action happening. So maybe just a little push higher. I would like to see a little pullback before pushing up even more. That's kind of goofy looking. You're welcome. Cool. Yeah, if we can on the 4-hour push up beyond this, I don't know if I anticipate this level getting hit again. We kind of did break above it and then tap back into this order block right here. So my anticipation into this week is some kind of push up above, down into this area right here. See this last down candle right here before we broke above the previous high, before further upside. Now with this, right, the order block is generally here, right? We want to see that origin, but oftentimes you'll notice that the order block isn't necessarily all the way down at the bottom of the impulse. You'll get an impulse, right? Without like a proper displacement above the previous high. You'll see price kind of go back and forth and create an order block here and then press on. And that's usually where you're going to start looking for a retracement. Not always, but this will probably line up with a fib level as well. So this is kind of the area I'd be looking at for USD JPY, USD CAD, real quick. Yeah, now, so this is, again, this is one of those ones where, oh my goodness, it came exactly into my level. And I would expect further upside there. The macroeconomic side of things is a little interesting to me, only because I understand that like Saudi Arabia is limiting exports. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's causing oil prices to rise. You know, I know America, our government is trying to replenish the oil reserves that the Biden administration used to bring down the price temporarily of gas in America. I think that was like just before an election, right? They were just trying to bring gas down to make sure that, you know, things look nice before an election. Anyways, no conspiracy there, y'all. So I don't know. I'm a little mixed. This is a bullish setup though. So the technicals say bulls. We're just gonna go with bulls. And you'll notice too, like we pushed up, created a low, pushed up again, and then we broke that low. So the question is, do we automatically think, we broke that low? Are we going to be bearish now? Not necessarily. You'll notice price breaks down all the time before it goes long. Here's an example. Price kind of consolidating. It broke down, right? So people that were trendline traders, they were probably here, right? Doing something like that. Broke down. They're going to be bearish. Cool. I guarantee you people were watching the trend line. They had a fib and they sold off here. And maybe they made some money. Not going to say they didn't make money. But then price continued to rally. So I'm going to be bullish on this for now. We definitely have an order block here that we kind of pushed up into, and there is an argument for a sell. But I want you to be mindful of something. Just because price breaks a piece of structure doesn't necessarily mean it's bullish or bearish, whatever direction you're looking, right? In this case, it doesn't necessarily mean we're bearish, right? We broke structure and then pushed bullish. There was liquidity in orders below this. There was an order block just below this liquidity. Something to be mindful of, right? Engineering liquidity below here, price breaks down, takes out these orders, taps into an order block where this impulse started and has continued to rally. So that is something we need to be mindful of. Just because we broke structure doesn't mean we're bearish. We could absolutely still be bullish. In fact, it breaks down sometimes just to clear liquidity and continue into an order block before pushing higher. And remember with USD JPY where I said, okay, well, we didn't really break this high and then we consolidated here. We created an order block at this level. So, right, price didn't return to this order block. No, price is coming to this one. It doesn't always have to return to the origin of the impulse. Oftentimes it'll pause just before breaking the high or whatever and then continue on. So the market can be tricky like that. Okay, sometimes it has to break down before going in the direction it was going. And that's perfectly fine. So I would still be bullish on this. It looks like price did kind of push up, pull back down into this wick, and it did pull up a little bit. And we're still looking at a bearish or bullish scenario here, right? So, right, broke down, came into our order block level, and then shifted structure on the 4-hour. There's probably a fib level here, right? This is probably OTE into this order block right here. This is a very standard OTE setup. Because our bias is still bullish on USD CAD, we're just waiting for price to shift in a bullish direction, which it did here, return to an order block, and I would expect that we continue up. Yeah, there's a fair value gap in a level here I'd be mindful of, but again, I'm going to delete that actually because it's just something to be mindful of. I'll keep the fair value gap there, but I do like how the minus 618 extension lines up with this fair value gap. Just as a price target, I like the confluences there as where you know, if I was to take a long here, where would I be looking to sell? But again, even here, yeah, we got a literally price is so fractal, and again another we're bullish, right? We're bullish on the 4-hour, but look at price broke down on the 1-hour just to go bullish again. So it's that kind of thing we gotta be mindful of. Price likes to break down in order to continue on in the direction it's going. So it might break bearish to go bullish, right? Here's our order block right there. Here's our 4-hour order block. Here's our 1-hour order block. Created the impulse, broke this high. We could consolidate here. Is my expectation that we're going to come right back down to this level here at 34.52? No, I could see us consolidating, pushing up, and then I would start looking at this level right here, this down candle for a buy. But we'll just have to see what price does. Again, it's the weekend. Price is just chilling. News can happen. Things can change. But I'm still looking bullish on that. All right, guys. I'm going to go straight to SPY. This video is getting a little long. Crypto. I'm going to look at crypto real quick. Is crypto doing anything right now, really? Is it really? No. Well, it's consolidating, that's for sure. That was a 1-hour consolidation happening there. Weekly. We're holding this level. Okay. And that was a nice bullish candle last 2 weeks ago. We have this one that's kind of an indecision, so we'll just have to see what happens. I could see us getting a little pop on crypto. Again, at least up to here, I've had this drawing on my chart for a while now. I've just moved it over as the week's gone on. It just kind of shifts over, just waiting for price to kind of come up here. I would look for a sell there, but if we break above, then we could have a bullish pop here in the short term. I do have levels marked out here. If we do push higher, there's liquidity sitting up here. We got fib levels. Yeah, there's an argument to be made for that. But right now, I don't know. Crypto's not doing a whole lot for me. If I was to be a long-term buyer, I'm still seeing a push down into sub 20K to 16K. I'll probably start accumulating then. But yeah, man, not a whole lot going on with crypto. I want to look at SPY though, guys. I want to talk about why my SPY chart is so ugly. All right, guys. So here's what I've been noticing on SPY. Let me go find it. All week, we have an opening print, and we've been bearish on SPY because the dollar's bullish, so indices are going to be bearish generally, not always, but generally, right? So this model of trading, I've been marking it out on my Instagram all over the place. It's just been showing up. The price action on SPY has been super clean. You have to be patient for it. You can't be on super low time frame charts. You have to be very patient. It's not always happening at like the straight off the market open. Sometimes it's actually happening. Look at, I mean, this is 11:30. That's a brilliant setup right here, guys. But it didn't happen until 11:30, and the market really sold off then. But if you were around for market open, the setup was there. You would just have to be willing to hold your position a little bit longer in the day and understand your targets. So on the weekly of SPY, let's pull that up real quick. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Let me delete some of this. That's an old opening print, right? So originally we were targeting this liquidity right here, right? Now that we have very clearly broken through with this strong displacement below this low, our next targets are going to be into this fair value gap and beyond down here at the low 400s, 414.75 roughly, and in this order block area. That's going to be our next target. Now, could we get a pullback before then? Sure. In fact, I would love a pullback so we can sell even harder. But I'm going to start looking at selling SPY, and I'm going to be looking at probably the 30-minute, 15 and 5-minute candles to start finding sells on SPY. Obviously, that was a very bearish 4-hour. This 1 hour is very clean. My buddy Renee took a sell on this Friday and made some money. Good for him. Very excited. It's always fun to see your buddies making money. But let's go back and let's look at a few setups that have happened this week and what I'll be looking for coming into this week. Because again, this just keeps repeating itself. It did it like 3 days in a row. But it's happening on lower time frames. Cool. Here's one that happened. Our opening print. All right, here's what happened, right? Price was trending bearishly during aftermarket. We had a push up pre-market into this order block. Right, this order block was created pre-market. If you were quick enough and you had marked that out, you probably could have taken that sell. But if you're like me and you're like, well, I want to be patient. I didn't take this trade, but I'm just thinking in hindsight, I would want to wait for that signal. Boom, we got a very bearish candle, and you could have done one, two things. Once you saw that, you could have placed your order at the bottom of this 15-minute order block, stop above, targeting. Well, if we did a fib, right? If we wanted to do a fib, we could have done something like this. Targeting that minus 27, which it fulfilled. Let's see, what would that look like? You probably would have got tapped in here. And if you're trading options and you got a 1 to 2, basically, cool. What does a 5-minute look like? Yeah, and you could have even refined this more, right? You could have come off this order block right here, this fib level. In fact, oftentimes you don't have to put it above that high. Some people will see this last up candle, this order block. Some people just put their stops above the order block because ideally it shouldn't really be breaking that order block. I mean, you could have had as high as like a 1 to 3 on this even. And that wasn't the only setup that showed itself. That was during New York. And it fulfilled. And then after New York session, kind of later in the day, we came down, we broke this, we pulled right back up into this order block, and then continued to sell off. Now, depending on where you're placing your targets and why, so let's just try and find a reason to place our targets somewhere. I don't know. Dude, this is so ugly. We could have been looking at this candle to start placing our targets, so you could have held longer, right? This candle right here, these order block kind of candles right there. That would have been an area. But if you're just using like the fib extensions, which is totally fine, which is totally valid. I like using fib extensions as targets. There was absolutely money to be made on that trade. So here's another one. Where are we at? There we are. So here's another one. Again, you would have to have like crazy diamond hands for this stuff. But here we go. Opening print right here. Price closed down. We traded below opening print, pulled right back up into this order block and sold off, right? We broke this low. So let's mark that out real quick. And this is how I'm going to be approaching SPY this week. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be looking for price to give me a very clear direction. And hypothetically, we could have broken this low and then pulled up, right? Yeah, you're going to be wrong every once in a while. But let me drink my coffee real quick. There's some very obvious setups happening, and they're very clean. All right, so once we saw price rejecting off this high order block here, we sold off very strong, displaced this low. Immediately, what you could have done is placed your fib. Now, this was not quite a 618. This would have been in premium though. We could have done this and then maybe scaled in. One thing you could do is you could just sell straight off the order block, right? You could do that. That's fine. You could sell straight off the 50%. Also fine. But then look at it, fulfilled that minus 27. So this is like, again, that kind of OTE kind of trading pattern that we just keep seeing over and over again. Price breaks the structure. It pulls up into an order block that has a fair value gap right here, and then proceeds down to that minus 27%. I'm going to be looking for that again this week. Did we get this one? Yeah, we got this one too. Holy smokes. So look at guys, here's another one. Here's another one you could have done. Here's price. This one actually is a little better. Broke our lows, pulled up. We have this little order block area, pulled down. You got another one right here where price pulled right back up into our area, our order block again, and then that's where it really sold off, guys. So again, same setup right there. Here we go. There's that one we just looked at. Let's keep going on the 5 minute. Here's a new day. This one would have been a little trickier, I think, for sure, because here's the market was kind of pulling up during pre-market. But again, we're bearish on this, so we're not looking for buys. So that's part of the whole idea with like the larger narrative I've talked about in older videos is like, well, what is our larger narrative on this? And that is that we're bearish on this, right? All the fundamentals say that we're bearish. Dollar's bullish. We're not looking for any reason to buy SPY. I'm only looking for reasons to sell. I'll be more right than not if I can find trades that are in the broader trend. So, you know, some might go, oh, dude, it broke above. Why would you not look for an order block to buy? And I think some probably were. Look at this. It tried. Ooh. But ultimately, it broke down. And so here's one of the great things, right? Just being patient. You would have had to wait till, I mean, after 9 o'clock. This setup didn't happen until, 12. Right? So that's pretty late in market. And you would have had to been quick to take your profit. But this is like a premium OTE setup. Price came up, failed. And here's two setups actually in here that I'm seeing right now on the 5 minute. Price came up, broke this structure right here. So here's our first break of structure happening right here. So let's mark that out. Cool. What could you have done, right? If you were in the market, you're like, let's say you don't care how late you are in the market either, right? I think you got to get past that. Cool. We've got a little fair value gap right here. Let's mark that out. Cool. So price left us this tiny little fair value gap, and right above it is an order block. The best order blocks are going to be the ones that cause gaps in the market. So you could put your fib. You could have probably, if you wanted to, could have put your order just up in here, or you could have waited, right, and done the confirmation, the swing point confirmation. 1, 2, 3 candles, right? There's our swing point, and it confirmed with a 4th bearish candle. You could have placed your order there. So let's say that's what we were doing, right? Per my Instagram videos, that's what we do. Stop just above. We could have targeted the larger minus, I guess we don't have the larger minus 27% yet, but we could have targeted this low right there and given yourself a 1 to 2.7. That is a perfectly good trade. And then we had a larger setup even happen. So right here, let's get rid of that. We don't need that fib anymore. And then this setup happened later in the market. Boom, broke the larger structure, the kind of the opening print area structure. We broke that, and price pulled right back up. So let's place our fib. Or actually, it looks like we already placed our fib. Right, we placed our fib. Cool, we see price pulling up. You could have simply just placed a pending order, a sell right here at the order block. Stop just above, target the minus 27, a 1 to 5, even better. Now, listen, we haven't hit it though, right? So I was telling my buddy, like, he pulled out completely at the low, which is awesome. Like, I think you might make more money in the long run if you just keep doing that. I guess I'm a little greedy. I'm always like, I want that little extension. I want that little bit more, but I'll scale out like 80% of my position at the previous low and then look to go fully out at the minus 27 or something like that. Let's look into this though and see, is there like, what could we have done? How could we have traded this? So if you had just put a pending order right there, that would have been a perfectly valid trade. Here's our swing point, 1, 2, 3, 4. This doesn't offer us quite as good of a return. Something with the swing points you can do. You might get stopped out, but here's an option for swing points is where you place your stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have put your order here, like put your sell there and then a stop just above that candle, that would have also been valid and maybe giving you a better risk to reward. But this is just super clean price action. So I'm going to be looking for this model to repeat itself coming into this week. Assuming we continue to sell off, I don't think I'm going to look for buys on SPY. Maybe, but again, it's kind of against trend. We're clearly targeting lower liquidity. So I'm going to be more right than not, as long as I can be disciplined enough to stay within trend, within the broader narrative of things. But guys, SPY, just very clean price action. It seems to be repeating itself over and over again here, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, right? And I really like it. So we'll see what happens going into this week. I really want to start trading this style. This is what I trade in forex, so it's been really cool to watch SPY and think, okay, it applies here too. A chart is a chart, I guess, you know? So anyways, let's go back to Euro and we'll just wrap this thing up. Again, Euro, here's all I'm looking at, guys. My first setup is going to be here. Clearly, we had strong displacement. Thanks to FOMC for that great trade. I'm completely out. We've got liquidity being engineered above these highs. If we can liquidate those highs, pull up into our 618, our order block, and we can start seeing some kind of rejections of these areas, let's look to sell this thing. If not, if we start pulling up higher, then we might get a deeper retrace, in which case we'll just reassess. But all right, guys, I got to go. It's been great. Safe trading this week. If you've learned something cool, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, like, tell your friends about it. If you've got some value from this, let me know. Shoot me a message, comment on the video. If you have a different idea about a chart, just let me know, or you want me to look at something, comment on the video, let me know. Let's run this thing up, y'all. All right, thank you guys. Peace.